From her early days as a child to becoming an adult, Shantal aspired to achieve quite a lot with her life.
Shantal has been a very, very active child, a go-getter since primary, a very clever lady. Yeah, that's what I can remember her childhood with.
I'm passionate about so many things. So at that time I would do business, I would do community volunteer work, I would volunteer with certain organizations, I would do my writing projects. I was doing so many things at the same time.
It was all good until one fateful day when things took a turn.
I started experiencing palpitations, like my heart would beat super fast. I remember I would struggle to breathe at that time, and I was restless.
The schizoaffective was bad because now it's like she's not thinking like me. She's seeing her other things. It's like, Mom, I'm seeing somebody outside there. So you can imagine.
For her mum and young brother, this was a new reality that they had to cope with to be there for their kin.
Friends could call you. It's like, mtoto wako amerogwa. There's something, you see. But me, I never used to believe in such. The brother is also a man who doesn't talk, but it really, really, really affected him.
As Shantal reflects on her upbringing, it was rather normal and nothing peculiar stood out.
I was born in a hospital called Nyabondo Hospital. I'm originally from Kisumu County, in a place called Nyakach, but most of my life I've grown in Homa Bay County, in a beautiful small town called Oyugis Town. I went to 2 primary schools. First I went to Mumias Complex, which later on I went to a school in Oyugis, which is called Gideon's Memorial Academy. And when it came to high school, I went to Nyakach Girls High School. And later I joined university. Back in 2015, I joined Egerton University, where I was able to pursue my degree in environmental science, hence graduating, and now I'm a professional environmentalist.
But as she grew older, something happened that shook the very foundations of their family.
Shantal is my womb opener, my firstborn. Yeah, my only daughter. Shantal has been a very, very active child, a go-getter since primary, a very clever lady. Yeah, that's what I can remember her childhood with.
When I finished high school, is when there was a change and a shift in our family when my mom and dad separated. Yeah, so my brother and I had to remain with my mom. My dad left and got another family. So we were raised with my mom, my brother and I, so basically a single mom. Yes, so when I went to campus, it was just the 3 of us. Mom being mom did her best and managed to take me through university until I graduated, and I'm glad she was there. She stood by me.
Her relationship with God was established from a tender age, and she recalls a rather active social lifestyle.
I can say we were brought up in a Christian home. Yes, we used to go to church. My mom, my family, we used to worship in Anglican, the Anglican church. Yes, so just like a normal family, when you're young, Sunday was always for church. You know, you wake up, dress your Sunday best, and you go to church. So I can say growing up, my parents exposed us to God, yes, at an early age. In as much as nowadays we grow and later come to know God at a personal level, which happened to me later on. As usual, I'm a bubbly person. Yes, actually people usually say that it's very easy to get along with me, And I think that is one of my strengths. I'm a bubbly person, I'm a happy person. Those who know me close, when it comes to socializing, I don't struggle, yes, a lot. So making friends has been always easy for me. Even people connecting to me, being open to me, and probably even sharing their personal stuff or issues. So when it comes to socializing, it has never been a problem for me. In as much as sometimes I'm introverted, I could say I'm an ambivert. There are times whereby I'm an introvert, there are times whereby I'm an extrovert. But when it comes to socializing, it hasn't been a struggle for me.
But on one momentous day in 2019, things drastically took a turn and Shantal needed medical attention.
This time I was staying in Homa Bay town. I had moved there for a particular contract, and the contract ended, so I decided to stay there and try and pull a few strings as I was doing my business, because I'm literally a hardworking person. So I called home and I told my mom that I don't see myself coming back home. I think I'll try and settle here and volunteer with certain organizations as I do my business. One day something happened. I started experiencing some weird physical symptoms. Yes, so I started experiencing palpitations, like my heart would beat super fast. I remember I would struggle to breathe at that time, and I was restless. So I called my friends and I told them that I'm not feeling okay, to the friends who were with me at that time. I told them that I'm not feeling okay, and then they said they can call a doctor friend they know who can come and check me and see probably what is happening to me at that time. So the doctor came, and when he came, he did a few checkups, just physical checkups. He asked me a few questions, and I answered back. Then he told me he isn't sure, he can't really tell what was happening to me at that time, but he did like a family history check. He asked if anyone in our family probably has heart problems or asthma, of which in my case it was a no. So after that, he injected me some drug, and he told me that it would calm me. And he immediately told me that if I can talk to my family so that they can take me to the hospital and maybe do a further checkup.
Shantal's mom, Catherine, is a nurse, and it was quite critical for her to be involved at that point as she engaged the doctor.
He was asking, is there something Shantal is going through, or is it like expectations in life? So me, I was like, I'm not sure. So it was like, go talk to her. Maybe there's something she's going through.
Most of my life I've stayed in Oyugis town. So she works in a hospital there that is called Rachonyo District Hospital. So we went there, and the doctor authorized I do scans, the X-ray scans, to see if there's a problem with my heart or lungs. So I was a bit scared because I didn't know. I was wondering, at that time I didn't know anything about anxiety or anything, or any mental disorder. So I was a bit scared. I was like, okay, how is this going to turn out? Am I going to be found, probably my heart is enlarged? You know, those news you get abruptly and you're not even sure. So I was scared, I was tensed, and the symptoms were persisting. You know, they would come regularly. They hadn't stopped. So we did the scan, and I remember after getting the results, I'll never forget that day, that doctor, he even laughed, and he said, oh, Shantal, you were worried. Why were you scared? You're still young. Your heart is fine. Your lungs are perfect. You're very healthy. I was so relieved to hear that, because I think I was imagining my future. You know, I had dreams and goals to pursue, so I didn't expect to get a physical condition at that time.
The doctor then engaged them further, and it was revealed to Shantal and her mum that she was struggling with anxiety disorder.
I can't explain it, but there was a moment of relief, you know, the aspect of knowing. So I remember telling myself, the puzzle is complete. I no longer have to wonder what is wrong with me. But then again, there was this shift of getting a new diagnosis. So, you know, your life has to change. You have to be now on treatment. You're taking these drugs and they're new. So I was like, I remember telling my mom, I'm going to take these drugs. And I remember she was telling me, you're going to be okay. Just take them. And I remember the doctor telling me, avoid stress. Anything that will trigger your stress right now, just avoid it, because it worsens the situation. So I had to make maybe a few adjustments and be more intentional when it comes to stress triggers, and probably learning how to now cope when the symptoms come. And of course, when the symptoms would come, it's scary. It's not something that the symptoms come and you're just happy or anything. No, it's a scary moment for me. Panic attacks, you usually feel like you're dying because you're experiencing shortness of breath. You can't breathe. You're experiencing pain in your muscles. You're experiencing palpitations. Your heart is racing super fast. Your muscles are in pain.
As Shantal was coming to terms with her new reality, her mum was questioning her role in all these and whether there was something she had done wrong.
As a nurse, a nurse, you can work, we work on shifts. Like you can go on duty in the morning and then by afternoon, you're back in the house. Or you can go in the afternoon, by around 7 p.m., you're back in the house. Or you can go in the evening, that is around 6:30, and then you do night shift till the next day in the morning. So I had that time with my kid. She became like, you are walking with her and she's like suspicious. She's like, hey mom, let's not pass there. I'm like, why? It's like somebody will hear what we are talking. Like, let's talk in low tones. So as a medic, I'm like, hey, what is not happening? Yeah, that's when I felt, no, there's something wrong here. I felt like maybe there's something she didn't tell me. Was it, by the way, I'm a single mother, so I was like, did it affect my child? Like the separation with the dad, which she never told me, because as a mother, what I knew, I gave them all my best, the love and everything. But you never know, maybe it was hurting her.
For Shantal, things got worse. A once bubbly and highly ambitious young girl was lacking the zeal to push forward.
I'm the kind of lady who is multitasking several things at the same time. I'm passionate about so many things. So at that time, I would do business, I would do community volunteer work, I would volunteer with certain organizations, I would do my writing projects. I was doing so many things at the same time. But now I noticed that I suddenly lost interest in these things. The zeal wasn't there anymore. The zeal wasn't there, and then I would sleep a lot. I would just feel sad.
So a lady who is a go-getter, wake up in the morning, mom, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, we had business. She was supposed to, she's the person who used to go and open the business. She can't wake up. That really got me. I felt so bad. I opened up about it to my family, and I said, I don't think I'm okay.
This meant another trip to the hospital for Shantal and her mum, where it was clear Shantal was quite unwell.
They explained the symptoms, and the doctor confirmed that yes, I was exhibiting symptoms of depression. And even the doctor went ahead and explained that if originally I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, people who are diagnosed with anxiety disorder, chances are they're likely to also get a diagnosis on depression. So I would ask the questions with the doctor, curiosity. I'm the kind of person who is curious, so I just wanted to understand myself more. So after getting the depression diagnosis, I was put on antidepressants to help manage the condition. But I think the depression episode was worse because I'm not saying that the anxiety is better. No mental illness is better, but I remember the depression period was worse because I was moodless, I was energyless, I would sleep a lot. I remember even showering sometimes would become a problem. My mom would come and joke to me, umeoga leo, ebu ingia uoge, But at that time I didn't feel, you're seeing yourself, you're just okay.
As this went on, Shantal started contemplating suicide. And on the fateful day, her mum walked in on her as she was about to take pills to end her life.
So I remember that day I was tired and I had my medication, and the suicidal thoughts were so many. so many, like it was too much. I want to die, I want to die. I would see myself in a coffin, you know, you just think about it, death, 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 death. So I took the pills and I was about to take them. I actually, at that time, I didn't tell anyone about that day. I told my mom that story later on when I knew maybe she had relaxed. So I was about to take them. Then she would do regular checks, like she would come into the room to check, are you okay? How are you doing? Have you eaten? You know. So she walked into the room to check on me. So when she walked in, I took the pills and I slid them under my duvet, because I knew if she saw them it would break her heart, because I know how much she loves me. Yeah. So she walked in and she was like, how are you feeling? And then she saw tears in my eyes. Then I just hugged her and I told her, Mom, I'm not okay. I'm tired. I'm tired. And I remember she hugged me and I just cried on her shoulders. But at that moment, I told myself, she saved my life. Then she said, let us call your doctor. I was seeing a doctor in Kisii at that time. She said, let's call your doctor, and then you talk to her, because I'd bonded with that psychiatrist. Talk to her and just tell her how you feel. So we called the doctor and, we called the doctor and I explained to her how I felt, and she said, you need an immediate admission.
I was shattered, and she doesn't know. Those are things that affected me till now. They're still affecting me. Yeah.
The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." For Shantal, this was far from true. She felt God had forsaken her.
When I completed campus, my relationship with God was strong. So I have been in that walk with Him for several years. But now when when the diagnosis started coming in, I think the relationship was shaken a bit, because at that time I was questioning Him. I was like, I'm your daughter, I'm your baby girl. How do you let such a thing happen to your baby girl? Where were you? Why did you not stop it? You know? But you know, when you outgrow it, when you become better, you realize God has a purpose for everything. But at that moment, I was questioning Him so many things. I was like, I had plans, I had dreams, I had projects. We were doing great things, you know. I was growing. Why did you let me? It's like I fell into a hole and now I'm stuck. No one is picking me from that hole.
I called my pastor, who came in the house and prayed for us, and they continued praying for us each and every time. He could call and check on us. Friends could call you. It's like let me say in mtoto wako amerogwa. There's something, you see. But me, I never used to believe in such. I just felt, no, there's something that Shantal passed through that she never talked about. And mostly my mind was childhood trauma.
As the family was grasping all this, Shantal would get another diagnosis that, as her mother explains, came with a lot of challenges.
The schizoaffective was bad because now it's like she's not thinking like me. She's seeing her other things. It's like, Mom, I'm seeing somebody outside there. So you can imagine, for me, I had to affirm every time. It's affirmation. No, there's nothing. Mom, I'm seeing this. Mom, at night she could scream, I'm seeing you what. So it was that bad.
I was struggling with hallucinations as well. So I couldn't handle the media space at that time with the symptoms that I had. And the third diagnosis not only interfered with my online being present online, but it also interfered with me even going to work, going outside, interacting with people. I literally had I literally had to confine myself at home, because in that space is where I felt safe. And I remember it was my room, to the sitting room, or to the washroom, or to my mom's room, or to my brother's room. It was literally in the house, exactly. So that was fueled by the third diagnosis. It interfered with my reality. And now when your reality is interfered with, I would say socially awkward, if that's the word I could use, because the way you perceive things is not the way people perceive things. So I would have to ask questions, like affirmations, constant affirmations. And I felt like, that was too much for me at that time. So let me just take a break off and be enclosed.
At this point, we were curious as to what it meant for Shantal to live with the three conditions.
2022 was my darkest year because I went off the grid dealing with all that. But God is faithful, I can say. That is why I say He gave me a second chance. So we had to see multiple specialists. That was also the advice from the specialists themselves, that it's good to get a second, third opinion. So we had to see multiple specialists, and until eventually we found a treatment regime that worked well with me. And I started noticing the difference. So I started coming back. It's like you're in this cocoon, and then all of a sudden you're rising back to your normal life. So I could say it was gradual, slowly, until I bounced back eventually. And I could say to date I got my life back. Yeah. So it was highs, lows, but you get the momentum as you continue. And also, you continue with your treatment. There's the morning dose, there's the evening dose, and you see the progress. And also another thing, in between I had to also get a psychologist to help me with the therapy sessions. Yeah, I would just talk to. The beauty about a psychologist is you can openly say, especially if you connect with them, you can openly share how you truly feel. And they helped me walk through the symptoms, managing the symptoms, because they also understand the illnesses, and even give me other natural ways in which I can be able to stand.
Though it was tough for her mum and little brother at the time, Shantal acknowledges that she felt their support.
I used to read so much, like Googling medical books, but now the psychiatrist, the first psychiatrist that we met, she talked to me, she talked to Shantal. In fact, they were telling me it's not only Shantal, even me. I did counseling because I was so affected. I used to tell my kids, like, do you know you people? There's a time I just feel dizzy and fall, you see, but they never used to know. I'm telling them now when they're okay, but that time they never used to know that, hey, Mom, it's reached that point that, and I'm also hypertensive. The BP could shoot. In the morning, that's the first person I call, checking on her. How are you? What are you doing? And she's still taking drugs, and I ensure she doesn't miss taking her drugs. The brother was also, that thing really affected him. But men, men outwardly, you'd think they're okay. And then the brother is also a man who doesn't talk. But it really, really, really affected him. Yeah, it really affected him.
I'm glad they created rooms in their heart to give me that space to just come in and share. So what helped us is the openness, the communication. And I remember my doctor used to insist, when you're struggling with any symptom, don't keep quiet, share it. And now he also advised my family that when she shares it, don't dismiss her, just try and listen.
In hindsight, Catherine still struggles to come to terms with what Shantal has been through, despite the reassurance from the daughter.
In fact, I was always asking myself, where did I go wrong? You see, Is there anything that she needed that I never gave her? Those are the questions I used to ask myself. But she used to reassure me and tell me, no, mom, you played your part as a mom. You took me to school, I finished the university, and you were so close. But I always call her my personal assistant, because anything that I want to do, I have to consult her, and she advises me. So they are just questions that I used to ask myself, but I never got answers.
Today, Shantal is the founder of Sunshine, an initiative she started before all this, but has since grown and sees her come to purpose even as she fights on.
I expected her to work as an environmentalist, but afterwards, the first thing Shantal told me, she told me, Mom, I'm not going to be employed. I want self-employment. So as a mother nowadays, it's like what the kid wants, the passion, let her do what she feels like doing.
They say you don't understand what God is doing, but when I look back, it's all connected, you know. So I don't know what he had in store, but when I look back, it now makes total sense. So after the diagnosis, I pushed myself and I told myself that I'm going to use this platform in as much as I'm encouraging people about life issues and daily stresses of life. I'm also going to fuse this conversation with mental health. And the core point of it is I'm going to use my personal story to just help create awareness on the various mental health issues out there, to just create advocacy and fight the stigma associated with it, to break the different myths that people have about mental health and mental illnesses. So I can say that Sunshine has grown. It was a baby, and right now it has become something bigger than me even. Yeah, and it's majorly on digital advocacy.
As we come to the culmination of Shantal's powerful story, she seeks to call the society to action as to how they perceive and engage those battling mental illness.
We are trained to suppress trauma. We are trained to suppress emotions, you know. We don't talk about how we feel, not knowing that these little emotions, they grow up to something one day and then it becomes something big. So let us just educate ourselves, understand what mental health is. Do your own research. You know, nowadays there are resources everywhere, social media, the information is out there. Understand what mental health is all about. And when you meet someone who is struggling mentally, be compassionate. People are carrying baggages you are hardly aware of. So just be compassionate, support where you can. If you can't, and that's okay. Even me, sometimes I get cases, I'm also in my down days, I can't handle. If you can't, refer the case. And then also, it's not an embarrassment to struggle mentally. You're human, you're not stone, you have emotions, you have a heart, you have a mind, you know. So you're human, don't be embarrassed about it. So to anyone who will listen to this, if you're struggling mentally, get help. If you don't know where to get help, look for a medical professional, even a normal doctor. Just go to a normal doctor, talk to that doctor. He'll advise you on who to go and get help from.